Good morning, everybody. My name is Ganesh Bele. I am assistant professor in Vidya Vikas College, Samudrapur. Today, it is really a matter of pleasure for me to present my research papers in one-day multidisciplinary international e-conference that is held at Bharat Mahavidyalaya, JU. The title of my presentations, or we can say the research paper, is An Issue of Identity Crisis in Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni's The Wine of Desire. As you know, the title of my research paper is An Identity Crisis. So, what is the identity? Identity is concerns with a self-image, or we can say self-esteem of an individual. But when there is a conflict between two images of a personality or two state of mind, the problem of identity crisis arises in an individual. In this connection, the Homi Baba, who is also a scientist in these connections, he says that identity is a feeling of in-betweenness. In the present novel, the protagonist Sudha and the old man, Mr. Sen, have a feeling of in-betweenness. That means they are the victim of identity crisis. They found themselves in such conditions that they find it's hard to live in calm and serene life. On the one hand, they have Indian cultures and Indian identity, and on the another hand, they have their American cultures and American identity, because they have shifted from India to America. That's why they try to inculcate in these cultures. These conditions set up a dilemma that leads them to a state of identity crisis. Besides this, the protagonist Sudha finds herself between the conflict of dependent and independent identities. She has been living a dependent life since her birth. She had a hidden desire to feel herself from the dependent identity, but Indian traditions and the feeling of righting her father's wrong could not allow her to free herself. But the American cultures give an ear to her hidden desire. She feels to free herself from that dependent identity. This desire also caused an identity crisis in the protagonist. The present paper is going to deal with this identity crisis of the protagonist. Similarly, it throws a light on the issue of identity crisis of the old man. And the name of that old man is Mr. Sen. Though he is not a protagonist in these novels, but he also faced the problem of identity crisis. The key word of my papers are conflict, desire, dependent identity, independent identity, identity, and identity crisis. As far as the introductions of this paper is concerned, we find that Erikson is a well-known psychoanalyst among the neo-Freudians. Like the Freud, he believed that the childhood play a very important role in the development of human personality, but he doesn't accept the Freud's view. The human personality is based on only sexuality. He believes that just as sexuality play important roles in the development of human behavior, similarly the social influence play an important role. That's why he says that identity is related to society. He also gives emphasis on the social atmosphere in order to create the identity. As far as the author is concerned, Chitra Banerjee, She is a well-known person in English literatures. She belonged to the category of Indo-American writer because she born in India, but later on she shifted into America. Regarding the Divakaruni, Agarwal says Divakaruni, a sensitive woman, a consummate artist and visionary Indo with exceptional human sensibility and involved and innovative visions, has proved herself a tireless innovator. Yes, she is a tireless innovator. She has written number of novels in on number of themes and has taken number of issue in her novel. Identity crisis is also one of the issue she deals with. In her novel, we find the personal touch because most of her novels present Indian as well as Americans cultures, and the character shift from one culture to another cultures, and that's why their crisis comes in their mind. So let's speak about this novel and the issue of identity crisis. The Wine of Desire. This is the focusing novel in this research papers because I'm going to deal my research papers only with the incidents and character that comes in the Wine of Desire. So Wine of Desire is a sequel to her earlier novel Sister of My Heart. The one and the same story has been narrated in these two novels. So that's why the Wine of Desire is a sequel to the Sister of My Heart. The story of the novel begins from the very points where it was ended in the earlier novel, that means in the Sister of My Heart. Here we have the two protagonists, Sudha and her sisters, but as far as her sister is concerned, we do not find the issue of identity with her sister, but we find the issue of identity with Sudha. So who is Sudha? Sudha has taken a divorce from her husband because he cannot support her by going against her mother's desire. He is a spineless person who doesn't have dare to stand with Sudha, because Sudha has decided that she will not abort her girl child, but her sister-in-law wanted to abort because she wants her first child as a boy, not a girl. So due to these reasons, she give divorce. She take the divorce from her husband and start living with her mother. Her mother is also a divorce. That's why she has to depend on her mother. Earlier she was depending on her mother, later on she depend on her husband. Then again after divorce she comes to the homes where her mothers live. That's why she become also dependent person. The story of the novel begins with the arrival of Sudha in America. Sudha arrives in America to create her own identity and achieve independence. Why she comes in America? There are only two reasons. Up till now, she has dependent identity. Now she wants to create her own identity. She wants to be independent persons. That is the first reasons. That's why she decided to come to America. Another reason is that her sister need her help because she had just got abortions and she was emotionally and physically distracted persons. In order to help her, she comes to America. But what happened in America? When she comes to America, She finds a number of problems. The first is her sister's husband was attracted towards her and he wanted to have a relationship with her, but it was not possible for Sudha to have relations with her sister's husband. That's what she tried to avoid. But in one incident, and there were a number of incidents which compel her to come near to him. That's why in page number 80 she says that bodies can pull at us. That means though she intensely tried to avoid him, her body can pull at her. Again, while living in America, she comes to acquaintance, or she happened to meet a girls who realize her that she can also earn some money, and with taking this connection, she joined the house of Mr. Sen, where she had to work for Mr. Sen. This is the man who also suffered from identity crisis. This man was brought in America by her son and daughter-in-law, but there he didn't find a sufficient and suitable atmosphere. He longed for his own country, and when he find between these two cultures, these two identity, he suffered from identity crisis. The same thing happened with the Sudha. After getting a job, she feel independent because she can earn money and she can fulfill her economical desire, and that's why she started realizing that she can be an independent person, she can have independent identity. But her old culture, Indian culture, and her family member are asking him to come to India and try to settle with Ashok. And who is the Ashok? Ashok is her ex-lover, childhood lover. He still wanted to have marriage with him. So when she find between these two things, that means whether to live in America and to have the American identity, or whether to go back to India and to have Indian identity, there she find herself in betweenness, and this in betweenness is the cause of her identity crisis. So at last what happened, and she decided that she will not go to India and not will have the Indian dependent identity. Here in America, she also come in acquaintance with a Lalit, and this person is a surgeon. He also wanted to marry with Sudha, but she also decided that she will not have the dependent identity, because once she marry either with Ashok or Lalit, she will have the dependent identity, and now she doesn't want to have dependent identity. That's why she gave a stern and rigid answer to both, that she will not marry to any one of you. At last she decided that she will be a caretaker of Mr. Sen and will have his own income and will have his own identity. That's why at last she resolved her identity crisis and decided that she will be a caretaker of Mr. Sen and will have the dependent identity. So this is the gist of my papers. In fact, if I want to present my whole paper, there will be lots of we have to spend lots of times. So here I would like to conclude my paper that Divakaruni, 1 minute please. Identity is the sensitive part of any person's. If he or she is found in a situations where his or her identity is threatened. Internal conflict arises in the mind. The depiction of this conflict need a deep understanding of human mind. This deep understanding of human mind is pursued in Divakaruni. The character like Sudha and the old man are epitome of her maturity and understanding of the human mind. The protagonist Sudha was a dependent person. Though she did not like her dependent identity, she could not do much to earn an independent identity. The reason for her independent identity lies in Indian traditions and culture. The Indian traditions and culture had bound her mind. When she comes to America, its culture and tradition create an internal conflict for her identity. She realized that she too could have an independent identity. Therefore, she decided to go neither with her childhood lover nor with her American lover. And in this way, she ended the problem of identity crisis. Similarly, Mr. Gupta also ended her identity crisis because Sudha assured him that she will give everything and she will take him to India to his native place and take care of him. And after listening this statement, the man started recovering from his disease or illness. Here I end my research papers. Thank you.